I can't take it anymore!
Good afternoon, good evening, good day, and good morning, Blurtstars, wherever you are around the world. You are listening to the Blurt.
We acknowledge the First Nations peoples of this land, the traditional custodians, and pay our respects to their elders past, present, and future. We recognise the ongoing impacts of colonisation and the importance of a voice to Parliament to ensure the sovereignty and self-determination of First Nation peoples is respected and upheld. We commit to working together towards a just and equitable future for all Australians.
Bonsoir, Blurtstar. Tonight I'm coming to you from Wurundjeri country, the Kulin Nation of the Wurrung people. Sovereignty was never ceded, always has been and always will be Aboriginal land. Tonight's show, as you can see, has a bit of a French theme because we are celebrating Bastille Day, which will be on the 14th. And I know that's a couple of days away, but we thought we would. So I know it's the 11th of June tonight. And I know we've got a couple of days, but we thought we would do that. So over to you, Wency.
Hello, Kegsta. No. Bonsoir, monsieur. Comment allez-vous? Je m'appelle Wentz Rivera, or Wency for short. And I'm coming to you.
Kegsta.
And I'm coming to you today back from the traditional lands of the Yuggera and Turrbals people. Sovereignty was never ceded.
That is 100% true. So now I need to just check this out because we actually didn't do this before the show because I hadn't realized you had homework. So now that I know you've got homework, yes. I need to do this.
You don't need no education.
So that is the homework sting. What have you got for us? What's I
don't know if you recall a couple of weeks ago, because I was actually listening to our potty from 2 weeks ago. We're talking about you were talking about platypuses. And we were wondering what the collective noun of the platypus is. It is a paddle of platypus.
A paddle of platypus?
A paddle of platypus. Say that 3 times in a row when you're drunk.
I was going to say, try that 3 times. So paddle. So it's not even a paddle of platypuses. It's a paddle of platypus.
Just platypus. Correct.
I can't believe it's not platypi. It's got.
I know.
Platypi. Sure.
I prefer platypi. It sounds so much better, doesn't it?
It does. It does indeed. Unfortunately, though, I've got to say though, they do sound like a cuisine. So that's not good. You don't want one of your most favorite animals to sound, like a favorite food. I don't
know. A paddle of platypus with your paddle of beers. Thank you very much.
Yes, that's exactly right. We won't be saying that again on the show. No, absolutely. Actually, talking about food though, which we weren't obviously because we were talking about the platypus, but the wastage of food.
Oh yeah,
the wastage of. Yes, well, it is important. And I came across 5 different strategies to how we can all not waste as much food. So one of the ways is to plan. Make sure you have a meal plan. Oh, yes, we have a little bit of delay. There you go. To make sure you've got a meal plan. And when you're cooking, start thinking already about intentional leftovers, what you might be eating, what might go into the fridge, etc. I don't know about you, but many times we end up we have leftovers, but unfortunately at times they get pushed to the back of the fridge. So it's actually good to have a leftover night to make sure that any leftovers that you have, you pull them all out and you eat them all on that one night.
Possibly the next day after,
because it's too easy. Yeah, definitely the next day.
And do you guys follow or you mentioned the very first thing, do you do a weekly planner on what you're going to cook for the week?
Yeah, look, that's such a good question. The short answer is no. But when I was growing up, my mum did though. She did, and she could tell me.
Yeah.
She could tell me on Wednesday what we were gonna like. She could tell me on a Sunday what we'd eat on a Wednesday, and that's how she would
Yeah.
shop. But we don't
Yeah.
tend to shop.
We
like
often
that.
do that. We're often doing a weekly food planning or dinner plan, especially when life gets busy and we work out, okay, because we know that one of the parents is going to be super busy work-wise or traveling or whatever. So quite often on a Sunday night, we'll plan what's going to be cooked for the rest of the week. We put on a little board, kids can see it, and it has helped in the past a little bit where we get the kids to actually help out because they know exactly what's coming up. So,
well,
that
your
helped us.
kids aren't particularly young anymore.
No. So they have no excuse not to help out in the kitchen anymore.
No, they do not have any excuse. I mean,
Yeah.
India's been helping out and cooking, doing her own cooking probably for the last couple of years, maybe, I don't know, maybe last 2-3 years or something. Yeah, she's 20 this year, so yeah, she's been helping out for a while. Yeah, so she has her own night, or she has her own couple of nights. I have mine, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So, but it tends to work quite well. On a Tuesday night, tonight, it's always a little bit of a rubbish night because Ness has got something on, I've got something on, and it's Ness's cooking night. So it's always
we're the same with Tuesday. Stating the obvious, it's our show night.
That's right.
Yeah, it's usually leftovers or something that's pre-cooked that we can just reheat. What other tips have you got for us?
So what have we got? Improvise. Improvise is another one of the strategies. So if you've got lots of odds and ends in the fridge, think about making a flexible, inexpensive dish that makes good use of bits and bobs of various foods. Frittatas, stir-fried rice, omelets, quesadillas, and soups are all really adaptable
What was that
dishes.
Mexican dish called again?
Quesadillas.
Sorry, say it again.
Quesadillas?
Sorry, I've got to laugh. Sorry. Quesadillas.
Is it quesadillas?
Quesadillas.
At least they didn't say quesadillas.
I have heard people say quesadillas or quesadillas.
That's what I mean. I was better than the norm. I mean,
yes,
I tried. I tried hard. I did. Yeah, I know. For you, it would be.
Elephant stamp for you, Mister. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. For people that do not know, should by now, we're on 131 episodes. Wensai is Chilean by background nationality. But were you born there or born here?
That's right. By birth.
Oh, you were actually born in Chile. Right. Okay. I couldn't.
Born in Chile. Arrived in Australia 2.5 years. Yes.
Born in a bowl of chili, and away you go. All right.
Correct. Chili con carne.
Yes. Very nice. Very nice. So anyway, talking about talking about absolutely apropos of nothing. South Koreans became a year or two younger on Wednesday. Did you read this? Did you see this?
I did come across this during the week. Tell us more. How did that happen?
On Wednesday, new laws require using only the international method of counting age took effect, replacing the country's traditional method. So under the age system most commonly used in South Koreans' everyday life, people are deemed to be a year old at birth. So like when
bizarre,
which makes
isn't it?
sense in a way because you've nearly been in there for a year, but we do a 0 when they come out, don't we? And we do another whole 1.
Yes, that is true. Although my kids
and a
would
year is added,
be, My kids would have been pretty much a year on exactly in the tummy because they were late to come out. They were overcooked.
Right.
So it felt like a year for my partner.
Overcooked and underappreciated. Yes.
Exactly.
Well, the underage system most commonly used in South Koreans' everyday life, people are deemed to be a year old at birth, and a year is added every January the 1st. But so the country since the 60s used the international norm of calculating from 0 at birth and adding a year every birthday for medical. But many South Koreans continued to use the traditional method for everything else. But in December, South Korea passed laws to scrap that traditional method and fully adopt the international standard, which obviously means that every single one of those South Korean people will be at least 1 year old younger.
Yeah, younger.
And
so they get an extra birthday. Very well done.
Yes. Seems that way. We expect legal disputes, complaints, and social confusion that have been caused over how to calculate ages. Will be greatly reduced. That's what they think. They think they're going to be greatly reduced. Minister of Government Lee Won-yu told a briefing on a Monday. According to the government survey conducted in September 2022, 86% of South Koreans said they would use the international age in their everyday life when the new laws took effect. So
nice.
so that seems to me like they don't have to, or like they're not compelled, which is interesting. So
fascinating. Who would have thought that was a thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what have you got for banter this week, Wency?
Did I have anything? I think I just had the homework, or did I have something else? No, I didn't have anything else.
That's absolutely fine because it is.
You're the one who came up with all the banters this week.
That's absolutely fine. No issue whatsoever because it's this time.
11,780 votes to win the election. Fellas, I need 11,000 votes.
Losers only. It's Trump. China.
So it is.
I love that one.
I do. I crack myself up sometimes. I do. It is true.
You
now,
do.
Just talking about being cracked up, or anyway, you make your own. You make your own decision on this. I find it very hard to look at, but that's just me. So I'll see if that pops through.
Gosh. Not him again.
Yeah. That's yeah.
I don't know which one you're talking about.
So,
I don't know.
It's pretty terrible. Anyway. What they're saying is the Home Affairs Minister has said that the Trump Jr. is just a big baby. Because
it's like his father.
He was meant to come. Very true. One off the old pram. And the Australian Minister Claire O'Neill said that he's a big baby who's just very unpopular in Australia because he blamed visa delay for postponing his tour. That he was just about to come to Australia and spout his disgraceful, disgusting, complete untruth bullshit to people that may want to listen to that sort of crap. And the Australian government hadn't stopped him coming. He had a visa in his hands 24 hours before he left America. But he decided to cancel his show anyway.
Let me guess, he didn't have enough tickets sold. That'd be my guess as to why he's not coming.
No. It's a visa delay. It's a visa delay. Yeah, no. It's definitely a visa delay.
Of course.
So Claire O'Neill tweeted on social media or Threads or Spoutable or Blue Sky or Mastodon or whatever the frick she used. I don't know what it was, but I think it was Twitter, I believe.
All of the above.
Yeah, absolutely. And and just saying we're on all of the above. Geez, Donald, apart from Blue Sky.
Yeah,
geez,
still waiting for our invite.
Donald Trump Jr. is a bit of a sore loser. His dad lost an election fair and square, but he said it was stolen. Now he's trying to blame the Australian government for his poor ticket sales and cancelled tour.
There you go.
So,
as I predicted.
Exactly as you predicted. So Trump, the eldest son of the former US president, an absolute mad person, was set to speak in Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane from July 9th to the 11th. Oh, what a shame. So upset that he's not coming. However, in a release to Associates Turning Point, Australia said overnight the dates would have to be rescheduled. They said Trump's visa was only received the late afternoon yesterday, 24 hours before the Conservative activist was due to board a plane for Australia. I love the way they call him a Conservative activist. He's not a Conservative activist.
No,
he's a
far
complete
right
narcissist. Yeah, absolutely. Conservative activist. Jesus.
Yeah.
I'd call Howard a conservative activist.
Mm.
Turning Point Australia said the tour had already sold. You're not going to believe this. It's a lot. You'd be surprised. 8,000 tickets.
Wow. That's barely a section in Taylor Swift's concerts for next year.
Across 3 states.
Across 3 states. Whoa. Just over 2,000 per state.
Including selling out all VIP tickets priced at $2,500.
Jeez. Mad people who paid that much.
Oh, Jesus, seriously. Ticket holders are urged to hold on to their tickets with details of rescheduled date to be confirmed in the coming days, the Australian website for Trump Live says. So there you go. That's a bit of Trump watch. A little bit different this week, but just as bad. As bad. Now, sorry.
I was just going to say, that's enough of Trump's. They don't need more airtime.
No, absolutely. You're 100% correct there. 100% correct. But it is probably time for a bit of this.
On this day,
I do. Just have it in the background there. You can't see it, but it totally matches that background. So what I might do is I might just show it to you for a second. Here we go. You'll see what I'm talking about when it pops up. Way there it is.
Good old French flag.
Yes. So Bastille Day. That is what the 14th is. The 14th is of July is all about in France, and I have a little bit that I would like to play, which means I'll have to stop playing this, but that's okay. I'll have to do that anyway. This we will put that back on, but this girl will give us a bit of a rundown on what July 14th is all about, but also I'll have some more details on Bastille Day as well. So just have a wee listen to this.
If you find Find yourself in France on the 14th of July. No matter where you are in the country, you'll be privy to celebrations. You might also find it difficult to get anything done because it's a bank holiday and everything is closed. Well, nearly everything. A huge military parade is held in the morning on the Champs-Élysées, and when night falls, firework displays light up the skies everywhere, from big cities to smaller towns. So, why all the fuss? Well, the French national holiday marks the anniversary of when the Bastille prison was stormed in 1789. That's why it's called Bastille Day in English. The Bastille was a medieval fortress serving as a political prison in the centre of Paris. The aristocracy wasn't too popular in France at the time, and revolutionary fervour was simmering thanks to a weak monarchy, consistently high taxes, and rising food prices. On July 14th, a crowd of 300 surrounded the prison, demanding the release of prisoners, as well as its impressive arms stash. A bloody battle ensued, with revolutionaries eventually capturing the building, pulling down its walls, and freeing inmates. When told of the drama, a bemused King Louis XVI asked one of his advisors, "Is this a revolt?" To which he replied, "No, sire, this is a revolution." He was executed by means of guillotine 4 years later. The act showed common people no longer accepted the absolute power of the monarchy. It also signaled the start of the French Revolution and forced the creation of the modern French Republic. So this 14th of July, if you see fireworks in France, you'll know exactly what they're for.
Yes, so very, very true. As you can say, that's just a sort of a high level. But I do have a bit more detail on that. As when she's just swaying along to the French music.
Playing my little invisible accordion.
Yes, nice. You do know that the accordion is probably my worst instrument in the world. Like, I cannot stand it. So for me to play that means that I really want to give the show a bit of a French theme.
There you go. The dedication, love it.
Exactly right. It's exactly right. So what I want to talk about was Bastille Day, and I am just slightly not where I need to be at the moment. Oh, here we go. Yes, right. Okay, so what we just found out then, obviously, is that Bastille Day is celebrated. They told us about someone who was guillotined, etc., etc. But there's a little bit more to it, as you can probably imagine. And the whole reason that it's called Bastille Day is because of the prison that was called the Bastille Saint Antoine. And as the video did talk about, at the time, the Bastille was back in the 14th century. It was meant to be a very stringent prison, etc. And it was built in a way that the turrets were round and not square. And the reason for that was the reinforcement of if it was going to be stormed or cannoned or whatever.
Very clever. Yeah,
it was clever, and there wasn't a lot of round prisons built in that time, at the time. So the whole idea was that it was a prison for for anyone really, but what did end up happening is people like Voltaire, who's a French philosopher, I think, ended up being in that prison, and there ended up being elites that ended up being in the prison as well, different writers.
Dissidents, a lot of dissidents, writers,
exactly. Yep. All that sort of stuff. And basically what happened was the peasants, us the peasants, we were getting pretty pissed off because more money was being spent on the Bastille, and the money was actually being spent on the luxuries that the people that were staying there.
Correct.
And they were getting more and more pissed off about this. So on the July the 14th, 1789, and the reason it was 1789 and the reason it was July the 14th, because on July the 13th, there was a whole bunch of dragoon of mercenaries that were made up of Germans and I think other countries as well that were fighting for the French aristocracy, and they started just trampling all the peasants, if you like, all of us people, and that's when they rose up on the 14th, and they went, "No, we're not having this anymore."
Yeah, okay.
And so a gathering of Parisians, they formed a militia, and they sat outside the Bastille, and the Bastille had heaps of weapons and also had heaps of gunpowder, etc.
But they only had 7 prisoners at the time on the day.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and it was costing France and the taxpayers, and as you can imagine, they will fleece the peasants as much as they possibly can for as much tax as humanly possible. And they just we totally got sick of it. So the evolution of Bastille Day describes the destruction of Bastille and the construction of a fountain on the new Place de la Bastille. And it mentions the first official celebration of Bastille Day in 1790 and its evolution under Napoleon to promote national unity. It notes the significance of Bastille Day as a rallying point for Republicans during the 1870s, which I'll probably discuss a tiny bit when we get to great people that did stuff. States that Bastille Day became a national holiday in 1880 and has remained the most important holiday in France, and highlights a continuation of Bastille Day celebrations during World War II under the leadership of de Gaulle in London. So, yeah, it's been going a very long time, and that's what it's all about.
I can fill you, add a little bit more information there.
Nice. Excellent.
Bastille Day hasn't always been celebrated, or their national day hasn't always been 14th of July. Between 1804 and 1817, it was celebrated on August 15th.
Do we know why?
Under Napoleon I. So Napoleon I, his name day, which many Western countries don't really know or of name days, but every day seems to have people's name as a day. I can't remember. I actually have a name day, believe it or not, which I might need some homework, or in a break I might look it up. But yes, name days. So Napoleon's name day was on August 15th, so he decided to have this day of celebration to be on his name day.
Oh, of course he did.
Yes. And then under the Restoration, which was 1814 to 1830, the regime at the time celebrated its kings on their name days, which was Louis the 18th on August 25th, and then Charles the 10th on May 24. So it changed during that period of time. Then between 1830 and 1848, it was between July 27th and 29. Again, similar reasons. So it's fluctuated all over the place.
Okay, so it began on July the 14th. They still are celebrating it now, July the 14th. So
correct.
when did it go back that they started always doing
1871 or thereabouts.
Right,
it was. Yeah. So a period of about 80 years, it was fluctuating, all over the place.
Yeah.
Yep. Each king or president, whatever they were called at the time, emperor, I think it was, wanted to stamp their authority, I guess.
Yeah, I think during those years, happy to be corrected, but I think during those years it was a pretty tumultuous time. I think the Americans were they wanting to fight against Napoleon? I can't remember.
No, that I don't know, but I know the Americans and the French resisted the British in America.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, definitely.
If you've seen Hamilton,
yes, absolutely.
Yep,
I've got stuff to say about that later.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that makes sense, because I think the English were obviously trying to attack the French again. And so I think the Americans were helping out the French in France, which would make sense because that's all around the time of Statue of Liberty, isn't it? So liberté and fraternité and égalité. So
that's right.
Absolutely. And talking about French words and French stuff, my French food here, you can't quite tell.
Oh, geez. What have you got there? What treats have you got?
I've got saucisson.
Some salami, basically.
Yeah, basically salami in French. Saucisson. And I've got some Dauphinois, which is one of the best brands of exported brie you can probably get. And
I'm drooling right now.
Something tells me I think you've had Dauphinois.
No, I just love good brie. I haven't had that one, but
Dauphinois is off the charts, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous a kilo as well. It's
I can imagine.
Especially
when it's at room temperature, that's when it's best had, I think.
Yeah. No, I think about $100 a kilo or something ridiculous.
Seriously?
Well,
that bite just cost you about $4.
All right.
While you're eating that, I'll continue on with a bit of other things that happen on this day. Like you mentioned, 1789 was the storming of the Bastille. 1790 was what they called the Fête de la Fédération, Festival of the Federation, as you mentioned. But 1795, so a few years later, the French National Convention decreed the La Marseillaise by Claude-Joseph Rouget de Lille as French national anthem. So it took them 6 years, and it's been their national anthem ever since. I'd play it right now, but I don't have it. I did find it earlier, but I didn't grab it to be able to play it for you. But I think we'll know it a little bit. Dun, 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 something like that.
Something like that. I'll see if I can get it in like a second.
Yeah, I've got it here, but I don't know how to play it through the way you do. So I never exported the song or the music. Yeah. They're still looking for it there.
Oh, that's okay. If we can't get there, we can't get there. But
yeah, that's right.
But I'll just 2 seconds. I'll just.
All right. I probably can get it. I just got to remember how to share that slide. Share screen. Do audio. Here we go. I think I got it.
All right. Excellent.
Hope you can hear this. Can you hear that?
No, you haven't added it to the. No, you haven't added it to the stream.
Okay, I think it's just taking its sweet time. Here we go.
Here we go, people.
Tech.
La Marseillaise. Here we go.
La Marseillaise.
La Marseillaise. Right. It's coming.
Did it pop up?
And so it's Christmas. No, I haven't seen it.
I can hear it here, but obviously it's coming through local.
It's good now.
I can't hear it. Not through my headphones.
Can't you? Oh, okay.
You can?
Yes. Fight with your defenders. Fight with your defenders.
Biz. I wonder what Biz stands for.
Under our flags at the victory. Run up to your accents, males. I don't think that's right.
No, I think that's a very bad translation there from whoever created this.
Yeah. Terrible translation. Absolutely terrible.
Lesson to everyone, don't believe everything you see on the internet.
No, absolutely.
All right, enough of that.
Yes, enough of that.
Enough of
But yeah, on this day, look, that is absolutely brilliant. Really good stuff. Have you got anything else there, Wency? For
I do have
on
a
this
few
day?
other
I mean, you've,
non-French
done that
stuff
extremely well.
on this
Just
day.
wondered. Cool. Okay, go for it.
All right. 1853 on this day, 14th of July. This is sort of right up your alley through family. New Zealanders had their first election in 1853. So that would be about 170 years ago. I think there's a bit of a delay.
They had their first election.
Correct.
Yeah, there is.
Are we back? Are you back?
Yeah, there's no delay. I'm just eating cheese.
Okay, sorry. I thought there was a delay. Alrighty, I shall carry on. Excusez-moi, monsieur. 1868, Alvin J. Fellows of New Haven in Connecticut, USA, patents the tape measure, a spring click tape measure. He did improve the design later on, but yes, that was the first time we got the tape measure that we all love dearly these days. 1891, we have American John T. Smith patents the corkboard, which a lot of offices have these days. Coming back home, 1965, Australian Ron Clark breaks the world record for 10,000 meters with a time of 27 minutes 39 seconds. What else have I got? That's interesting. 1966 was the 53rd Tour de France, which is currently being raced around France right now. For anyone who's interested, go over to SBS. Not right now because you're listening to us, but go to SBS and that'll be on later tonight. But yes, 1966 53rd Tour de France was won by a Frenchman by the name of Lucien Aymar. The next two, just to round off my bit for on this day, 1983, Mario Brothers is first released by Nintendo in Japan, which we all know these days, I'm pretty sure. And in 2002, on this day, French President Jacques Chirac escapes an assassination attempt during Bastille Day celebrations.
Ah,
so, yeah.
What day was that?
What
year was that?
2002, 21 years ago.
Nice work. Beautiful work. Sensational work there, Wency.
Lots has happened on this day.
It has. Lots has happened. And lots of people have done lots of great stuff. And we will visit some of them after this.
When you give blood, you're more than just a blood donor. You're the lifeblood of Australia. Search Give Blood and book your donation with Australian Red Cross Lifeblood today. Give life. Give blood.
Hey, this is Hannah Melville Ray from the Australia Institute. I'm listening to the new Blurt with Wency and the Kegsta, and you should be too. It's on Tuesday nights, live from around 8 p.m.
The Australia Institute produces high-quality research that has real-world impact, whether it's revealing the $10.3 billion in fossil fuel subsidies provided by federal and state governments last year, or our long-standing research advocating for a federal anti-corruption commission with real teeth. We change minds. To donate, head on over to australiainstitute.org.au.
And we're back with a bit of...
Hi, and welcome to Great People That Did Stuff.
Still got that in the background.
I love the accordion. Second to the bagpipes. to being really an
Oh,
annoying
God.
instrument.
Seriously. Look, talk about annoying instruments. When I went to London the first time years ago, I went to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. It was in August 1996. I remember it vividly because it was the first time I'd ever heard pan flutes. And I heard these pan flutes and I was like, oh my God, they are awesome. They sound so good. And then every day of the Fringe Festival, the Edinburgh Fringe, that goes for, I think, 30 days, basically, they would be there every day in the corner. And I soon got sick of hearing those pan pipes, those like South American sort of pan pipe things.
I love the pan pipes.
Yes, no. And I heard these things every day, and I fell in love with the bagpipes, which I did actually. And then I started hating them as well. And then I went back to Australia, and the exact guy that was at the festival doing his thing was busking/playing in Burke Street Mall when I came back. And I was like, no! I was, not a happy man.
I can imagine.
At all.
But
anyway, so that was that. But, so great people did. Yes, absolutely. Great people that did stuff. I wanted to talk just a little bit of detail about Marie Joseph Paul Yves Roch Gilbert Du Motier de Lafayette.
While you're doing that, I am going to enjoy my little pain au chocolat, by the way.
Oh, your pain au chocolat.
Yes. Seeing as we're doing the French theme, so you do that.
Yes.
While I listen intently and
absolutely.
eat.
Yes, no, do that. Absolutely do that. Just put yourself on mute while you eat, but that's all good. So, known as Lafayette, and anyone who's from Hamilton knowledge will maybe sort of have their ears prick up when I say Lafayette, because if you've seen Hamilton, you'll sort of understand maybe who he was. And I do have a little bit on that after this. But anyway, he was a French aristocrat, Freemason military officer, and he volunteered to join the Continental Army led by George Washington during the American Revolutionary War. Now, he played a significant role in the Siege of Yorktown, the final major battle of the Revolutionary War that secured American independence, i.e. they were fighting the British. After returning to France, he became involved in the French Revolution in 1789, which we've just discussed, and the July Revolution of 1830. Yes, apparently he led that revolution in 1789 on Bastille Day. So
busy man.
And the fact he's very, very, very busy man. He was celebrated as a hero in France and America. And he was born into wealthy landowning family in France. And he was an officer at 13. And,
at 13? What?
Yeah. I know, it's crazy, isn't it? Well, that's what happens when you get lots of money back then. You just do what they tell you to do.
I was busy popping pimples at the time at 13. Bloody hell.
Yeah, that's horrible. I've never I don't like that. I don't do that. Less said about that, the better. Anyway, where is it? Where is
I've really
it
distracted you there, haven't I?
Where are we? You did.
Threw you off course.
You did. Because anyone in my family will tell you that is one of my most hated things. Most hated. I can't stand it. I cannot stand it. Anyway, in 1780, he returned to America and was given senior positions in the Continental Army. And Lafayette's troops played a crucial role in blocking the British forces in Virginia. And if you've seen Hamilton, if you haven't, you should. And it's on Netflix. You've got no excuse. And not just because it's a magnificent musical, but also because it's fantastic history. So anyway, he helped write the Declaration of Rights of Man, of the Citizen, and advocated for the abolition of slavery. So he was an abolitionist as well. Lafayette was appointed commander-in-chief of France's National Guard during the Revolution. He was also arrested and spent over 5 years in the Bastille itself during the radical phase of the revolution. He was released in 1997. He returned to France but refused to participate in Napoleon's government.
Right.
So he didn't like Napoleon.
Mm.
He became a Liberal member of the Chamber of Deputies, and he visited as a guest and received a great reception in 1824, the United States. And during the July Revolution of 1830, he initially supported Louis Philippe as king, but then he turned against him.
No.
He died in
Does it say why?
1834. No, I'm not 100% sure on that one. But he died in 1834, and he's often referred to as the hero of two worlds for his contributions to both France and the United States. Now, the connection with Hamilton is that he was in America. They called him the Marquis de Lafayette because obviously that was a massive mouthful that I said what his name was. In 1777, the year that the Vermont Constitution abolished slavery, the two became fast friends at Yorktown. This is Hamilton we're talking about. In 17, if you don't know who Hamilton is, you go and see the musical on Netflix, and then you'll know. Exactly right. Yeah, I mean, you can look it up on Google, but just go and watch it. It's awesome. It's fantastic.
It's much more entertaining when you watch it.
100% agree. 100% agree. Lafayette participated with Hamilton in the American victory there, thanks in large part to French naval blockade. But he was also aided by a young slave named James Armistead. Now, this is the first I've actually read about a young slave named James Armistead, which I'm not surprised by, because what's happening now, I don't know if you realize, but what's happening now is more and more history is sort of getting rewritten, because as you know and can imagine, most of the history we have is written by patriarchy and white patriarchy.
Yeah.
Exactly. So lots of heaps and heaps of all different nationalities that had so much to do with history, and so many important parts have just completely been erased. And so it's good that history's actually sort of being retold how it actually did happen. Anyway, he was also aided by a young slave named James Armistead, who successfully spied on Cornwallis at the British. And although clearly influenced by the work of Condorcet, I don't know who that is, it may also have been thanks to Armistead that Lafayette developed his interest in the experiment to free the slaves.
Right.
And the Negroes, etc., and only have them as tenants, not slaves as such.
Yeah.
I.e., working in the house, etc., but actually getting paid for it. Now, George Washington, I am pretty sure, I believe he was meant to be against slaves, but I'm pretty sure he had some.
The irony.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know about irony, but it's just wrong.
It is. And the other thing is that there is conjecture and history that, and it is disputed by people that don't want to believe it, but there is quite a lot of evidence to say that he actually had sex with a young slave, and had children with her.
Right. Okay. That's George Washington.
George Washington, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So Lafayette purchased a plantation for this purpose along the banks of the Oyapoke River in Cayenne, now French Guiana, which he called La Belle Gabrielle. At the plantation, later run by Lafayette's wife, the slaves were educated and paid for their work.
Excellent. Wow.
Which means you're not a slave if you're paid for your work.
Correct. That's right.
Though the French Revolution and Lafayette's imprisonment brought an end to this precocious experiment. So as soon as he went to prison, that ended.
It all stopped. Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah. So he sounds like he was a pretty cool dude.
Bit of a revolutionary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Interesting.
Makes sense why Hamilton liked him, befriended him.
Mm, yeah.
So, yeah. So over to you, my friend.
I'm going to go to a different century, the 20th century to be in fact.
Nice.
Another famous French person that did great stuff was André René Roussimoff, or Andre the Giant, for those who know him best. He was a renowned professional wrestler and entertainer because of his colossal size and charismatic presence. He was born in 1946 and stood over 7 feet, which is 2.13 meters in the metric system, and weighed around 225 kilos. His big, imposing physicality and unique appeal made him a legend in the wrestling world. I used to love watching him in the WWF back in the 80s and 90s. He also starred in films, most notably as Fezzik in The Princess Bride. What else has he done? He was an iconic figure in the sports entertainment history, leaving an indelible mark on both the wrestling industry and popular culture. He died in January 27, 1993, at the young age of 43. He passed away due to congestive heart failure, a condition often associated with his acromegaly, which is a disorder characterized by his excessive growth hormone. So, which is why he was so big. So, yeah, so that was pretty sad in that respect. But he did what he loved, entertaining people. Yeah, so I thought that was quite interesting to have a quick highlight on him. Another one while you're still eating, because I can steal your.
Do you have any? Do you have
Sorry,
any
do I have
pictures?
any? No, didn't do
Pictures
any
of
show and tell
Andre
for
the
this.
Giant? No, oh, really? Oh,
No,
we need some pictures.
normally I would do show and tell, but yes, I ran out of time today and the last couple of days with work. Another one that I'll just quickly highlight, a famous French person, was Gabrielle Bonheur Chanel, or Coco Chanel. She was born 1883, died in 1971. She was a pioneering fashion designer and businesswoman who revolutionized women's fashion in the early 20th century.
And she was born on Bastille Day.
No, not just doing great people that did stuff. Oh, I wouldn't have a clue.
Oh, sorry, I'm on the right. I'm fine.
You're in the wrong segment.
Seriously, yeah, I am. Sorry, I apologize. I'll just shut up. Sorry.
I think your mind's too far into the that brie, that expensive brie, and you're
right.
just in heaven.
I think you're right. The brain is just gone ski. No brain. Yeah, totally gone.
Back to Coco Chanel. She was renowned for her timeless and iconic designs that emphasized comfort, simplicity, and elegance. She one of her signature styles was the tailored suit and also little black dresses, and the introduction of women's trousers, challenging the normal convention of fashion of the time. She popularized the concept of casual chic and became synonymous with effortless sophistication. What else can I say about her?
That's not Coco Chanel.
No, that is not Coco Chanel. If it was, I'd be worried. For those listening on the podcast, we are actually seeing Andre the Giant, a photo of him standing next to an average-sized man.
I'd say so. 7'4", I think.
Yeah, something like that. It's huge. Back to Chanel.
All intents and purposes, a really nice guy too.
Oh yeah, no, he was very likable and charismatic in real life. Yeah, no, it was apparently quite the charming bloke. Back to Coco. Yeah, so her brand Chanel grew into a global fashion empire with the interlocking sea. Not that I can afford that. And it's not my thing anyway to have all this expensive stuff, but it is what it is, and very French, this brand. What else? Yeah, so she was one of the influential figures of early fashion in the early 20th century. She died on January 10th, 1971, at the ripe old age of 87 due to natural causes, specifically a heart attack. So, no, she had led a good life, and yeah, contributed quite a lot.
Oh, so she lived till 87, yeah? I've got a...
Yeah. Here we go.
Got quite a good picture up, I think.
So for the listener
Coco Chanel. She's
on the
pretty young
podcast,
there.
that's very young there, looking very wispy to the sky or something in a nice little white satiny long dress by the looks of it. I don't know what material it was, but lots of frills with a flowery belt by the looks of it. But yeah. Do you have a photo there of her with the trousers, like women's trousers that she may have introduced?
Find some.
What else can I say about her? I think that's everything. Hang on. So one of the things that she was revered for was liberating women from those bloody restrictive corsets. So at the time, a lot of women were wearing corsets. So she went, screw that. I think women need to be freer.
Corsets.
And the corsets, yep. And we can thank her for loosening the belt, so to say.
Well, this is some of her brand now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got some modern photos.
Oh, here we go.
This is some Chanel brand.
Yeah.
Should hopefully maybe pop up. So.
Yep, can see that.
There you go. So, really sort of straight and, I mean, I'm not a big fan myself, but you can tell it's very French. I mean, I've been to France enough times, and they are a bit, they're not as flamboyant as the Italians or the Spanish when it comes to dress. Although, I mean, I know that looks a bit out there or whatever, but as a rule, the French are pretty conservative. I mean, you can sort of tell that, though. I mean, this is Coco Chanel, and it's not, that's quite nice. I quite like that. But anyway,
other one on the left,
yes, the one that looked like it had a little bit about it. So Coco Chanel, brilliant, really, really, really good stuff. And obviously, she, I think, isn't she? She's responsible for Chanel number. Is it number 9?
5.
Chanel number 5. Right.
Yes.
That's the famous one.
Yes. Right. So not only did she do fashion, but yes, perfumes, eau de toilettes, whatever, all that stuff. Yeah.
Excellent,
so
excellent.
Great export of her industry.
Yeah, no, for sure. And as you were saying before, she enabled women to get at it. Now, I was actually going to talk about that just with the corsets. The interesting thing about the corsets is that back in the day, back in the 1700s, 1800s, etc., when they were wearing corsets, I mean, well back further than that, but women were fainting in court and often, and they were fainting often all the time, and so men at the time, because obviously they're completely stupid, thought that the women were suffering from something called hysteria, etc., etc. They never thought for 2 seconds it could be the fact that they have something sucking all of their insides in 8 hours, 10 hours a day or something. So, and so, so there was
bloody men, far out men.
Absolutely.
What would they know?
Absolutely. I agree totally, 100%. Us peasants wouldn't tell the women how to dress.
No.
But One thing I'll say though, also about that is that I know it's amazing, but when they stop wearing the corsets, the women seem to live longer. Who would have thought?
Yeah, funny that. And probably faint less as well.
Yes, there was a lot less fainting. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it took a long while.
Wow.
Yeah, so good on Coco Chanel. That's all I've got to say.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, absolutely. Well, that is your French show for the night, and it's all over.
Sacre bleu, it's the end. Oh mon Dieu.
It is. It is absolutely sacre bleu indeed. So I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. We enjoyed bringing it to you as usual. Peppy there is enjoying himself, bouncing along. I had a fantastic time as well.
Remember him? He used to jump, chasing the black and white cat.
Yes. We should have got that on. Anyway, now as Wency and I normally are, we have no idea what's on next week's show, but I'm sure it'll be good. Oh, actually, that's not true. We do. Yes.
No,
absolutely.
you do. We do. We have a special guest next week.
We do indeed have a special guest next week, and I definitely very, very remiss me to forget. Yeah, we have guests live from Lifeblood next week, and that should be fantastic. They are going to tell us all about giving blood.
And if you, the listener, have any questions that you'd like to ask Lifeblood, such as how much do they sell the blood for, or when does Dracula come around to pick up his lot, things like that, please ask us on any of our channels, which I'm about to put right here.
If they break a bag, do they scoop it up and make sure they don't waste any of it?
I could answer that because my sister did work there, but we will save that answer for next week.
We will save that for next week, so that should be a bit of fun. That should be good.
So if you do have any questions, email us at blurtstar@gmail.com, or send us a message on Twitter @blurtnew or Instagram blurtstar, and Threads will be the same as Insta, so @blurtstar. So if you want to thread us or tweet us, go for it.
Absolutely, exactly what Wency just said. Well done, Wency. Fantastic as always. I say adieu and
I
au revoir.
Say bonne nuit.
Yes, bonne nuit.
Next week. Bonne nuit.
Bonne nuit. Au revoir.
Ciao. Till next week. Bye.